Hey guys, Robert Lunt here with Realty One Group Skyline, and today I'm going to bring you another great educational video on frequently asked questions that I get as a licensed, experienced new construction real estate agent in the Parrish, Florida, Lakewood Ranch, Tampa Bay area, guys. I've been doing this for quite a few years now. Been licensed for over 8 years, been investing for over 10 years, and I have been buying new construction homes for me and my family for the last 10, 11 years as well, guys. So I have a lot of experience with new construction in this North River, Lakewood Ranch, Parrish, Tampa Bay area, guys. I've represented hundreds of clients in transactions. Clients like to reach out to me because they know that I offer a cashback incentive, guys. I like to incentivize my clients for working with me, trusting me, and picking me to be their real estate agent with all the real estate agents you could pick in the area, all the YouTubers, right? I'd like to bring you that comprehensive coverage on my channel. I put in hours and hours and hours of work on this every single week to give you guys the optimized, top-notch content that I can provide with community tour after community tour with my own experience built into that, upcoming features coming to the communities, as well as, different aspects of, I even, advertise my listings on there, and I do a lot of educational things on my channel, guys. I like to educate you in the buying and selling process of real estate and give you all the tools that you need to make educated decisions. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you're a veteran, if you're your fifth or sixth home, whatever the case may be, if you're a cash buyer, if you're an investor, guys, these are the things that I like to cover, and I have experience in all of these things, especially listings, guys. I've listed homes from Anna Maria Island down to Inglewood, out to Kissimmee, up to Gainesville, you name it, guys. I can handle the job anywhere in the state of Florida. If you need a home listed and sold, I'll give you a discounted listing service for working with me, especially if you already used me in the past. I give you an automatic discount just for working with me. I give you a full professional listing service with photos, YouTube video, videos, aerials, open houses, guys, professional listing descriptions, you name it, on over 3,500 sites, all over social media, guys. I do the full deal and bring you as many buyers to your front yard as I possibly can, guys. And very experienced with that, negotiating and making sure the deal gets closed to the finish line and handling any complications that come along the way, guys. So I've done over 35 flips. I own 9 rental properties, guys. I'm a very investor-friendly real estate agent as well. So if you're looking to invest, looking to do a flip, if you're looking to buy a rental, I'm very experienced in that department as well, guys. I've been the buyer, the seller, I've been the contractor, I've been the laborer, guys, the subcontractor, you name it, guys. But with no further ado, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe, take advantage. Give me a call, 941-879-4730, and let's get into the frequently asked questions that I typically get in this profession. All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to cover what are the advantages of buying a home, a new construction home over a pre-existing home, explaining the process of purchasing a new construction home in Parrish. And I also have a video called the 12 steps of buying new construction. So refer to that video if you want the full breakdown, but I will cover some of that today as well, guys. Which builders are active in the Parrish area and what are their reputations like. I can only speak on that to be professional. I can only speak on that to a certain extent. It's better if you contact me in person. It's not something that I like to advertise, but if you give me a call, 941-879-4730, I'll give you my experience with each of the builders that I've worked with in the past, the pros and cons, and who I think is the best. What are the current trends in the new construction homes in Parrish? Are there any up-and-coming developments or communities in Parrish that I should be aware of? How long does it typically take to build a new construction home in Parrish? What customization options are available when buying a new construction home in Parrish? Are there any incentives or special offers available for purchasing a new construction home in Parrish? And what warranties are typically offered by builders for new construction homes, and how does financing for a new construction home in Parrish or anywhere in the state of Florida differ from an existing home. So, then I'm going to cover some bonus stuff, guys. I figured I would cover things that I'm asked about a lot is storms and insurance, and like putting up hurricane shutters. What are they for? Alligators, how dangerous are they? How precautious should you be around them? What threat do they pose? I think some of that goes without saying, but we'll go through that as well, guys. And HOAs and CDDs, of which I have another full video on HOAs and CDDs, and refer to that if you'd like to sit through about an hour of knowledge, but that gives you the full breakdown. But I'll go through a little bit about that as well today, guys. So I'm gonna go through the advantages and disadvantages. So I have the pros and cons of each of these aspects in this video today, guys, so stay tuned. And we'll get through these things. I'm not sure, it should take maybe about 40 minutes or so. So I'll try to get through it as fast as possible, but let's get started. And like I said, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Hope you're enjoying my content, and here we go. Guys, number one, what are the advantages of buying a new construction home over a pre-existing one in Parrish, Florida, or anywhere, right, in the state of Florida or in this area? Guys, I'm gonna speak on what I have down here in my notes and what I have off the top of my head. So the advantages, what I have here is new construction homes in Parrish often come with modern amenities, energy efficient features, and the ability to customize your preferences. Plus, you won't have to deal with the wear and tear of a pre-existing home, so you won't have to fix anything initially moving in. You can have it all ready to go. As you know, guys, as I think that all goes without saying, but you know, and what are the cons would be new construction homes have a higher initial cost. They can be more expensive up front than comparably, you know, to pre-existing homes, especially when adding upgrades and custom features. So you could get a home, you know, if you had to add a swimming pool, right, for $100,000, you know, you might be able to get a home that already has a pool, even though it's used, and maybe you got to do some maintenance to it, or it might be in good shape. You never know, guys. You know, and some of the things, like typically you're gonna have more mature landscaping in a pre-existing community. You're gonna have no HOA a lot of the times, no CDD, not so much in Parrish. A lot of HOAs, mostly HOA communities in Parrish. So that is, you know, one thing you have to think about, guys. And insurance costs. So like insurance for a new house is gonna be relatively cheap. And just to give you a number, saying Parrish, right, versus like a Punta Gorda house that's down closer to where the storms and hurricanes typically do more damage, and there's more flooding. You know, insurance on a pre-existing home in those areas can be around $2,000, $2,500 a year, and if you need flood insurance, that might be an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a year as well. Depending on how recently the house has been updated, you know, what the flood zones are, stuff like that, guys, it all differs. But in those areas where storms have hit more frequently, you're gonna have higher insurance, where new construction, say in Parrish, for a 2,000 square foot home is gonna run you like $1,200 a year, guys. So like you're gonna have better energy efficiency because you're gonna have the new coat on the windows, the insulation, the roof is gonna be brand new. You're typically gonna have a block home, whereas if you bought something in a pre-existing area, you might have a wood frame home that's stuccoed over or has siding, which is less energy efficient. You know, it may have some termite or pest damage or some issues like that, guys. Typically with these new construction homes, you get pest tubes inside the walls for termites. They're treated, you know, at the studs, stuff like that, guys. They've taken more precautions over the years and learned from the different things that have happened and the different problems that you can have in homes. So that's why, you know, having a new construction home can be a huge advantage. Plus you'll get into like a brand newly developed community where it's brand new everything. They put in new schools, new hospitals, and new roads. But some of the disadvantages could be, it could be a construction site for a while, and you may not have the stores that you want to have right next to you. You might have to drive a distance until those come in, until the area develops, guys, and that could take a few years. But at the same time, you'll build equity in those areas because you'll get in the first phase or the second phase or before the community is developed, and you'll take advantage of the pricing discounts. Whereas like if you know like Lakewood Ranch, where it's get the top rated school zones, all brand new everything, you know, the houses are running, you know, $30 to $40 more price per square foot than in Parrish right now. So like the same square footage, you might be paying $50 to $100, maybe even $200,000 more, depending on which community it's in. But like I said, community, you'll have maybe some of the state-of-the-art amenities, right? So you'll have like the resort-style pools with the gyms and the trails and the fire pits and, you know, everything, the wide sidewalks. You won't have the big tall oak trees that, you know, can kill your grass and just kind of like make a mess of your yard and your car and your roof and invite a lot of critters in to the area, guys. So these are some of the things that, you know, some of the advantages and disadvantages of buying a new construction versus a pre-existing one. And then it could be location too, guys. Look, even though this is developing into a better location than probably anywhere else, and people from Lakewood Ranch will probably want to move to Parrish after it develops over the next 10 to 20 years, because it's more centrally located between Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Sarasota versus Lakewood Ranch. And because even a lot of people from Lakewood Ranch are already selling their houses, getting the equity there, and buying here where it's a little bit more cost effective and they can see the growth and the appreciation that they're gonna get over time, guys. And then, like I said, also, one last thing is the customizing of the homes. So you'll be able to pick everything that you want versus pre-existing. But typically it's not always the case, right? It's not always the case with new construction, because you'll get the inventory deals. Right now we're racing the interest rates in 2024 when I'm filming this video, and we're racing interest rates, and the builders are buying down the rates. So what they're doing is they're not purchasing those points to buy down the rate until like maybe 60 days from completion. So they're doing inventory homes. They're picking out everything because the market is so hot around here. People are buying so quickly. You know, the rates may be 7%, but they're buying it down to 5% or 5.5% already, and you're getting a brand new house that's fully warranted, guys. Number 2, can you explain the process of purchasing a new construction home in Parrish? So the purchasing process, guys, the process typically, and I did the 12 steps on purchasing a new home, so refer to that video, guys, because that's a very informative video. It's gonna give you a lot of insight. They have some redundant stuff that's in this video, but I'll have a lot of things that aren't in this video. So the process typically involves choosing a builder and a floor plan that suits your needs, your wants, and your budget, right? So you have your budget usually comes first, you know, then wants comes second, but then you have to substitute that with needs, because sometimes your wants don't fit into your budget, guys. So those are the things that I go over in that video. And then negotiating the contract, because when you have a real estate agent like me that does a lot of sales with these builders, I can typically ask, because they know me, and I do a lot of sales with them, so I can ask them for additional incentives. Plus if they're giving me a realtor bonus, like a $5,000 realtor bonus on an inventory home, I'll share that, if not part of it, all of it with you guys. So I'm not a stingy guy. I like to give back. I'm very empathetic and very compassionate for my buyers, and I'm very appreciative for your business and trusting me and choosing me to represent you. I really do appreciate that, guys. And you know, the process typically involves, like I said, choosing the builder, selecting the options and upgrades, negotiating the contract, overseeing the construction, which if you're out of state, you know, that's where I come into play, because I can go by the home all the time. Like every couple of weeks, I can take pictures of the progress so you know where you're at as far as, okay, we need to order a home inspection now, or okay, it's time to cancel our lease, or you know, it's time to call the moving company because they're moving quicker than they said they were going to, or they're moving slower than they said they were going to, right? Which typically in this market, they're moving faster. You know, we're not having the supply chain issues like we were having 2 or 3 years ago. Those things have all kind of gone away and have been remedied over the years. And then closing on the home, guys. So that's gonna be going to the closing. So we're gonna do your walkthrough, right? We're gonna do if you get a home inspection or not. I'm gonna walk through the home with you and with the builder. We're gonna set up a time, usually a week or 2 before the closing date. And then we're gonna go pick out everything. And this is when you'll see the blue tape and green tape all over the walls. And we're gonna pick out, in my eye, because I used to flip houses and I used to be a contractor, I can see a lot of things and I can understand why things and what to look for and where people cut corners and where to look that you might see damage that you may not think to see. And that they're probably not gonna point out to you. They'll point out some things to you to show you that, you know, to add value and to show you that they're looking out for you, but they're not gonna point out everything, and you might not see everything, but I might see some things and be like, what's that? What's that? The home inspector might point out some things that he's looking for, more technical stuff, right? I'm looking for more like flaws in construction, things that got covered up and, you know, just made to look right, but it's really not done right. So these things happen a lot, guys, and that's why it's good to have a real estate agent. So disadvantages, guys, also on top of those things that I just mentioned, could be a lengthy process, right? The process of purchasing and building a new construction home can be lengthy if you're gonna customize and do a to-be-built home. And it can sometimes be frustrating because, like I said, you could go through and keep checking on the home. They may have screwed this up and screwed that up, and then you tell them to fix it, and they don't. You know, they don't fix it right away, or they say that's within tolerance, or they say that's just the way it is. And if you don't have somebody backing you up, you know, with a third set of eyes on there that knows these real estate laws and customs and the ethics here, then you might find yourself in a frustrating situation with potential delays in construction. You know, like say appliances are on back order, or windows or sliding glass doors or something like that, guys. Or maybe they've had to switch crews, or they can't get the CO, right? The certificate of occupancy. Maybe the county is delaying those certificate of occupancies because they're realizing their infrastructure in the county needs to catch up with the population overgrowth that's coming to Parrish. That can be an issue too, guys. That can delay your closing. I've seen that happen recently. So guys, number 3, builders and reputations. Which builders are active in the Parrish area and what are their reputations like? Okay, builders like Lennar, DR Horton, Pulte, which are some of my favorite. You know, DR is #1 in volume. Lennar, you know, some people have badmouthed DR Horton and Lennar, but I think they've, you know, it's a hit or miss, guys. It's all who's the project manager. Like DR Horton will have, you know, things where they do block on both floors. They have really great pricing and they have really great incentives, so it's kind of hard to pass up, and they make nice communities. So, and they're kind of monopolized. I mean, they're in more communities than most of the other builders, DR Horton, guys. So if you want to be in a certain area, you might have to deal with DR Horton, and now they've stepped up their production. They've got more product lines, like in Lakewood Ranch and Star Farms, or Star Farms video, where they have different series now. They have a Freedom 50. They have, I think, an Emerald series. They have a Express Elite or something like that. It's called Express Plus, I think it is. I don't know. It's got tile roofs and they got the vinyl plank laminate. I think they have the paver driveways. They also have that in the Freedom 50, guys. Star Farms is a nice community. I will say that. I've had good experience and bad experience with all of these builders, guys. Done a lot of sales with Lennar. I almost actually worked for Lennar. It was where should I be a real estate agent or go work for Lennar? Those were one of my 2 options when I got my license 8 years ago. And Lennar, people have a lot of bad things to say about Lennar. They did have some, legal issues back in the day, but they've really stepped it up, guys. And their products are looking great, especially in this area, like Prosperity Lakes. I think it's called Stone Gate or something like that. They have really nice homes in there with the tile roofs, paver driveways, everything's included with Lennar. They used to have those curved corners on their walls. Now they have the straight corners. They have a really nice community in Lakewood Ranch called Lakewood National, which I'm sure you're familiar with. They do a lot of different stuff. Like everything is included, guys. Like the ceiling fans, they're even screening in the lanais now. All the appliances are included. The blinds are included. Crown molding everywhere. It's all included, guys. All the cabinetry handles. That's typically a lot of builders, you don't get the fridge, you don't get the handles, you don't get the crown, you don't get the screened-in lanais. With Lennar, everything's included. Pulte, I would say that's one of my favorite builders. Pulte, Syntex, and Del Webb, which are the same, and I think Devosta, right? They're all the same company. Del Webb, super nice, very quality. They pride themselves in keeping their job sites very clean, at all times. So when you want to walk through, there's no debris, no nails, no things that you're gonna drive over and get a flat tire. Guys are step on, no trash around on the job site. Very nice. Usually when you do the walkthroughs with Pulte, there's not a lot of tape going on. Usually very little bit of tape here and there, but they do a very good job on finished work, guys. And they have some really nice upgrades for good deals, and they do a lot of great incentives, guys. So those are a couple of the ones I'd like to talk about. Just like to mention, plenty of builders around here like MI Homes, Meritage Homes. We've got West Bay. We've got David Weekley, Cardella Homes, Starlight. Highland Homes, Mattamy Homes, Medallion Homes. I can go on. Neil Community is a big one in Parrish, big one in this area, a big developer, a big builder, guys. Neil has a great reputation here. They've developed North River Ranch and implemented this whole new part of Parrish, guys. So down at the schools and the roads and everything, they've been part of that process. The next, guys, number 3. We're gonna do through current trends. Current trends in Parrish. Okay, new construction homes often feature open floor plans, gourmet kitchens, outdoor living spaces, and energy efficient designs to cater to Florida lifestyles, guys. Some of the limited character, that's another thing. New construction homes may lack unique character and mature landscaping found in older homes, which some buyers prefer. So sometimes you might want, your layout to be like this, and the homes not to be such an open concept and not such like a hallway design. You may want it to be more, where it's kind of separated. You have some more separation, but the disadvantages of that, guys, can sometimes be low ceilings, right? Or where like garages have been converted to living spaces, you might have to step up and step down into some of these older homes that have been converted into larger square footage, because originally Florida was a prominent retirement area, right? And people came here without their kids. So they had a lot of 2-bedroom, 1 baths with like a 1-car garage or something like that. There's a lot of that in like West Bradenton, St. Pete, Sarasota, where you just like Northport, where you just had like a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and then they converted the lanai, they converted the garage, they added on a carport, right? They had the lower ceilings, stuff like that. Like some of the duct work was more tighter in those areas, and like some of the airflow and things like that, guys. So some of the windows might be a little darker, not a lot of natural light. But even in the new construction communities, it's like that. Some of the new construction models where you have, just to keep costs down and keep energy efficiency up, there's less windows, right? So less natural light, but it keeps the air in, because it gets very hot in Florida, especially right now. It's getting hot. It's getting very hot. So it's getting extremely humid out there. Lots of bugs. You want to make sure you get those screened in lanais, guys. That's where my $2,000 bonus and the incentives that I give back to my clients can come in handy, because you can get some of these things right away. If you're tight on money and closing costs are a little much, or you wanted to buy, say buy down the interest rate, because right now, and refer to my interest rate buy down video, guys, when it comes down to buying down the rate, if you had a $450,000 house and you spend $20,000 or $40,000 to buy it down 2%, that's the equivalent of $100,000 in price for the same payment, right? So you could have a $550,000 home at 4.9 and a $450,000 home at 6.9 and have the same exact payment, guys. So keep that in mind. Very experienced in this stuff, guys. I'm very experienced. That's, like I said, limited character, landscaping, and there's pros and cons to the landscaping being more mature. You might like that feeling. Yes, there's more oxygen coming from the more mature trees, more shade, right? But say in a storm or a hurricane, some of those limbs could blow off into your house or fall onto your roof or something like that, guys. Or you could get a lot of debris from the trees, a lot of bugs, or it's like a channel for mice and rats and things like that to get up in your eaves and into your attic, guys. So there'll be a lot of spiders in those trees. So having the more tropical landscaping, not so many oak trees, might be something that you desire. So number 5, guys, upcoming developments. So keep an eye on developments like Silverleaf, which this is a little bit dated, because Silverleaf is basically built out already. I think they just sold their last few homes. So we're going to talk about stuff like Sierra, Oakfield is coming in. Sierra, which is a new lagoon community coming into Moccasin Wallow. Then there's Rutland Ranch. A lot of communities coming out in that way, in that Rye Road area. There's like Big Lennar community coming out right now. They're turning the ground off of 675. And as you know, guys, and this is the map right here, this map is 2045, what Parrish is going to look like. Now, this is going to be all the new roads. All these dotted lines are going to be the new roads coming into Parrish, Florida. This was planned over 27,000 homes coming to Parrish, with hospitals, colleges, schools, roads, all the big box stores, Walmarts, Publixes, grocery stores, parks, preserves, all these things, guys. All these things are coming to Parrish. It's going to be a state-of-the-art, brand new community, right? For the future, like a futuristic community. And unfinished development. So moving into a newly developed area means dealing with ongoing construction, potential noise, and incomplete community amenities. So yes, you can move into an area where you're anticipating on that appreciation of these things coming in, but you don't have them right away. So you don't have a hospital right in the neighborhood, right? You gotta drive 5 miles to it if you gotta go to the emergency room. You gotta go, if you have to go to a certain college or a certain job, or you gotta go to a certain grocery store like Whole Foods. There's no Whole Foods in Parrish yet, right? So, or Detweiler's, like you wanna go to a certain farm market. There are farm stores around here. There's a Whole Foods coming to where the Costco is on State Road 64 and I-75, right? Then there's a Walmart coming in with a grocery store, and I'm sure some other farm markets will come in, some other fresh food stores will come in as time goes on, but there's not a lot of restaurants, right? So, and there's a lot of construction, so there's like traffic delays, because right now in Moccasin Wallow, they're widening the road. And look at my Moccasin Wallow video, guys. I kind of did that like 6 months ago, I think, but it's still pretty relevant to what's going on right now. All that construction is underway, so check out that video, guys. And like I said, they're widening the road. So right now they're working on these 2 lanes, and they got 1 lane open, right? So they're doing a guy out there with a stop sign thing and letting one side go, and then stops, and then lets the other side go, and it can take 30 minutes just to get to the highway going down Moccasin Wallow, and everyone's turning around and going around the other way. So be a lot of congestion. There can be, like, when you're living in a new construction community, you get a lot of flat tires, you get a lot of screws and nails. You might have to go get a patch in your tire once a month. That was happening in here for a while, but they finished out this section here in Brightwood and North River Ranch, but I was getting flats like every month, like sometimes twice a month. And it was pretty annoying because it was like $30 a patch, and then after a tire gets patched like 4 or 5 times, you gotta get some new tires, right? And you don't just replace one tire, you replace all 4 of them. So that can be a nightmare. But that's how you make money, guys. So if you're looking at an investment, you don't know what the economy is doing, right? Typically going up like this, up and down, but making its way up with inflation over time. And to kind of curb inflation and to have your money work for you guys, real estate is one of the best assets, the most tangible assets, the most secure assets to have your dollars tied up in, guys, because it goes up with the economy, and as each month you're paying down the balance, right? So and as the area grows and appreciates, not only does it go up with inflation, but it goes up with forced appreciation from a community that is developing, like Parrish, Florida. And it's pretty awesome, guys. Pretty awesome when you think of it from that aspect. So guys, I hope you're enjoying this video, guys. Yes, I know it's a little lengthy, and these educational videos do get a little lengthy, but this is a great video. Just stay tuned, guys, because as I get through these, we're gonna go through storms and insurance, we're gonna go through alligators, and we're gonna go through HOAs and CDDs as well, guys. So, next, we're gonna talk about here is number 6. So construction timeline. The time to build a new construction home in Parrish can vary depending on the factors. I think that's the one I just did, was construction delays, right? And I think I meant to talk about unfinished developments. I did that. So yeah, so we're on construction. So construction timeline and construction delays. The time to build your new construction home in Parrish can vary depending on factors like builder schedule, weather, and customization options, but it typically ranges from several months to a year, right? So I would say right now, if you're building from scratch, you want to fully customize your home and pick out the lot that you want, and you got to think of things like, here your base price, then you have your lot price, then you have all your upgrades to get to that final price. And you might be starting, they might be 1 or 2 months by the time they get the permit and break ground on the home. And it could be 6 to 8 months during construction. Some builders can get it done in 4 to 6 months. Some are a little more streamlined. There's not a lot of customization going on there. It just depends on how in-depth that process is, or how big the home is that you're building. So keep those things in mind, guys, because it could take 6 to 8 months. A West Bay home could take, 8 months, right? Because it's bigger, it's more customized, there might be more material delays. You never know, guys. It depends on what you pick out for your home and how rare of an option that is, and how popular of an option that is, because it might be very popular and everyone's picking that out, and there might be a shortage on that supply. And that's where you can run into delays as well, guys. So that's where you can run into, like, stuff like weather, right? In the summertime, we might have a lot of storms, but they're not working on certain days because it's raining. So like they can't come in and say paint, right? Because you can't paint when it's raining out. Just different things like that. It might be lightning coming through the area, or a hurricane, or maybe a storm comes and kind of blows around the community a little bit and just kind of messes things up. So it could add an extra few days, or there's some an evacuation, or some of the construction workers, their homes get hit in a storm, they live elsewhere, right? So these are things, guys, that you really have to consider when buying new construction in this area, because knock on plastic, but the 3 storms I've been through in the last few years, which was like Irma, I don't know what the last 2 were called, like they've always got some interesting names, right? I don't memorize them, but the last couple of storms, we haven't even lost power, guys, because in these new construction communities, one thing that we don't have is all our power lines are underground, and we have a lot of new storm drainage. So anything that was in a flood zone, like an AE, is brought out of the flood zone because they redevelop all the irrigation, all the storm drainage. You see all these little lakes everywhere and ponds. That's for stormwater, guys. And you'll see the house is kind of padded up a little bit on mounds. You'll see like these little, almost like canals in the middle of the homes that kind of, these little dips in between the houses like that. That takes all the storm water and sends it out to the street, which goes down to the sewers, into the ponds, and then all those ponds are in a chain and they're all connected to each other. And you might have a small one here, and then that filters out to another larger one through a tunnel system, and then that might flow out to a preserve or a bigger lake or a river or something like that, guys. So they're all developed out of the storm system. I've had a rental home that was a house that renting that was in an AE, and like I said, I had a rental that was in an AE, right? And I just got the letter that the builder brought so I had to get flood insurance on it for the first year, and it was an extra $70 a month. Not too bad, because you might have to pay flood insurance in a situation like that temporarily until the builder replats the map of the area and submits it to FEMA. Once the whole community is kind of finished and brought out of that flood zone, once all the lots are done, then they can resubmit the elevation to FEMA, and that will take it out of the flood zone, and then you won't need the flood insurance anymore, guys. So that just happened to me. I just got the letter, and now it will not be in a flood zone after like June or something like that. So then I can drop my flood insurance and save an extra $70 a month. So that's huge. So yeah, guys. Then number 7, we're gonna get into customization costs. What customization options are available when buying a new construction home in Parrish? Now, this typically breaks down, guys, into, let's see what I have here. Builders in Parrish usually offer a range of customization options, including floor plan adjustments, finishes, upgrades to suit your preferences and budget. And then disadvantages of that is, while customization is a perk, it can also become expensive quickly. Upgrades and modifications can significantly increase the final price. And we did that with the West Bay home the other day. I had some customers looking, and I think the base price was around $700, right? And then you'd have your structural options, your structural upgrades, and which are gonna be like, say, tray ceilings, or the way the kitchen is, or the way that a covered lanai, or you wanted to convert this room into an actual bedroom, like the bonus room where you added a closet, or this bathroom into a full bath or something like that, right? Those are your kind of your structural upgrades, or you have the taller door frames, or the better windows, things like that. And then you have your cosmetic upgrades, which are going to be like the type of cabinets you get, the type of paint, the type of appliances you want, like if you wanted epoxy, say, on your floors, or the type of flooring. If you wanted like the shower glass or the shower tile, those things, or the special trim packages, the special door handles, all those things, guys, are going to be your customization. Those are going to be your upgrades. And I saw these people's house go from $700 to $950, base price. Then you add the lot for $50,000. Then you add all the structural and cosmetic upgrades, and you're at $950,000, guys. Quick, So don't be fooled by the base prices when you're doing a to-be built, and then like on more affordable properties, like say with a Pulte or a DR Horton, it could go up, like maybe $15,000 to $30,000 for the lot, and then maybe another $40,000 to $60,000 in upgrades, guys. So just keep that in mind when you're doing a to-be built versus getting an inventory home, which they're heavily incentivizing. Because on a to-be built, you're not going to get a lot of incentives because it's so pushed so far out. They can't predict what the rates are going to be, how much it is to lock a rate. Usually they can only do that 60 days in advance. That's why the inventory homes, they get these incentives up front, because they get these like heavy incentives when the home's like completed, or 60 days from completion, when they can lock the rate or they'll even give a heavier incentive when it's already completed, and they can do a 30-day close because they can buy down the rate twice as much for the same dollars it would cost them on a 60-day rate lock and a 60-day buy down. So these are things you have to consider. It's why you should have a real estate agent, always consulting with someone like me who has a lot of experience with these things and has all this knowledge and information, guys. It costs you nothing. The builders pay my commission, and they actually like you. They do not pay the salespeople any more or any less for you to have or not have a real estate agent, and they do not typically give any larger discounts to you for not having a real estate agent. I'll be honest, sometimes they do, but like I said, I incentivize you as well, and then I'll give you some of the bonuses that they give me. So I'm incentivizing you guaranteed, like it's a guarantee, and then I negotiate with them as well. So you're gonna get the discount from my repeat business, because they're seeing me a lot. So they're like, oh, this is Robert's customer. Yeah, hook him up, whatever. Right, that happens a lot. It happens a lot. Or I get the plug from all the builders. I'm on speed dial with all these builders and all the salespeople, and I'm getting texts every day, all day long, like, hey Robert, this one just fell back on the market. See if you can find a buyer. We got a $50,000 incentive, or we got a 4.99, or there's a $5,000 realtor bonus, and I'll give you that, maybe or half of that, right? Depending on the situation. And depending on the builder, really, because it just depends on how much of a headache I foresee with that process, and how much I think it's worth to me to engage, and or how much I like you, right? Or which I love basically everybody, but I really don't discriminate. So I really I don't actually at all. I love everyone all over the world, and I do business with everybody, guys. I do not have any preferences who I do business with. I'm here to serve you, and it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how you speak, or what you look like. It does not bother me, guys. I'm here to help you and to be successful and to make it a win-win situation for everybody, guys. So that's what I'm all about. You know it. So if you watch my channel, if you've been following me, you know how I roll. So especially if you've done business with me in the past, I give you that incentive right away. As soon as my commission check clears, I'm giving it to you, or we can fix it into the closing statement. So if you need it for closing costs or down payment or whatever, we can work it like that too, guys. So, all right, so next we're talking about incentives and offers, which I've kind of just covered that. So the builders may offer incentives like closing cost assistance, design credits, or special financing options to attract buyers to their new construction homes in Parrish, right? So, are there any incentives or special offers? That's why it's good. Someone that's plugged in like me, I stay on top of that, because the incentives change on the dailies too. It's not just that you might go in there last week or talk to somebody on the phone and they may say, oh, we have a $10,000 incentive, and you weren't really serious, right? But once I'm like, hey, these people are serious, and then 5 days later they increase the incentives, and tell those people blah blah blah, we increase the incentive, or if you have anybody for this home, or maybe you were looking in this community, but a community that was just as nice, they sent me a similar floor plan that was cheaper with a better incentive. So I run that by you when I say, guys, check this out, right? That's where my value comes, guys. And then incentives with strings attached. So some of these incentives may be when you're using the builder's financing, right? You may have a lender that you like to deal with, or you think it's more streamlined, or a specific type of creative loan that you need to get, like a DSCR loan, like a no bank statement loan, something like that, guys, or you're doing a home equity line of credit to get an investment property, and that may void out the incentives, because the builders will typically service the loan, and they make money over time on the loan, so it's worth it to them. And then they also underwrite the loan, so they almost like guarantee the loan, and it's packaged properly if they need to sell the loan. so they know like, okay, this is a good loan, or they know they're gonna close it because it's their house, and they know that maybe there's some more leeway or some more, methods or practices that they use with their underwriting process that streamlines it, make sure it gets closed on time, and doesn't have any delays like some of the outside lenders may have that may not have their underwriting process in line with their standards, right? So, they might pre-approve, an outside lender might pre-approve you, but they may not pre-approve you, right? But then when you go through underwriting and you've tied up the home, and then the builder's like, oh, they order some outside appraisal service that doesn't have experience with that area, and the home doesn't appraise. There's a lot of factors why the builders want to incentivize you for using their lending, and not just that they're making money on the loan, because they want to make sure that the loan closes and that you're well qualified and you fit into the box that is going to win and get that deal closed. So yep. So number 9, guys, is going to be, we're going to talk about what warranties are typically offered by builders for new construction homes in Parrish, right? So warranties. Builders typically provide a warranty covering the structural defects, materials, and workmanship for a certain period after completion, giving buyers peace of mind. And the cons to that could be, guys, the limitations on the warranty, which while warranties offer some protection, they may have limitations, exclusions, and fine print that could result in unexpected out-of-pocket expenses for the homeowner. So this could mean, guys, typically you get a 1 year bumper to bumper. That's everything included. 1 year includes everything inside the walls, inside the home, the floors, the cabinets, and this and that. But it may disclude, say, scuffs and dings and stuff like that. The stuff that we don't pick out during the walkthrough. If we don't see it, they may not cover it. If it's not addressed before closing, because they may say, oh, you did that moving in, or whatever, right? Or it wasn't like that when we gave you the home. So these are things that we could take pictures of. We could just make sure if there's any defects, we want to get that in writing. We want to get that documented. We want to get that signed off by the builder. They owe us that and those repairs. And but sometimes there's things that you just miss, that you miss. That's why it's good to have a third set of eyes, because there's things that you just didn't see, and you're like, dang, I didn't know that the baseboard there was a big gap right there, or I didn't know this cabinet was messed up. I didn't check that, right? Because you didn't get a home inspection, or you didn't have a realtor with you going through the home, and you're just kind of like overwhelmed with the process, and maybe traveling here to do your walkthrough, where you're just doing so many different things to get this deal done, where your kind of head was in the clouds, and then the builder's guy is kind of, playing the song and dance with you, and going back and forth with you and building rapport with you, just so you like, yeah, as they're walking through the home, and you just kind of not looking at things all the way, right? So that's what happens, guys. So you want to make sure you get that 1, 2, usually it's a 1, 2, 10. Most of the builders like a 2 year in the wall, so you get that 1 year is everything. 2 years in the walls. Typically it's usually like 1 year for the landscaping too. And then for the grass, as long as you're keeping the sprinkler on its scheduled intervals where it's coming on. And then your 10 years is usually going to be your structural, so like foundation cracks, structural cracks, and they usually say you got to fit a coin inside those cracks. Sometimes there's, some builders, they don't prep the land right, or like they were building over like an orange grove, or like a landfill or something, guys, or they covered up like, say, a little creek or something, and your lot was on that, right? And then it's settled more than, say, maybe the other homes in the community. And then I've seen people get these big cracks in their tiles and like their floor cracks, and I've seen these things happen, guys, and like it's not often, it's not a common thing, but it happens. And so it's good to have these warranties. That's the one good thing about having warranties, because when you're buying a a pre-existing home, like yeah, maybe all those cracks were there at one point in the house and the home, and then someone just filled it in with, you know, puttied it up or whatever, and then put new flooring over it, and you don't really know. Maybe it'll get worse over time. You don't really know, guys. I've had to flip homes where I've bought homes that had sunken down like into the ground, and like just on one side because like someone put like too much furniture, or just when the block hit it, and like there was vibrations from all the appliances over time. It just kind of loosened everything up and made the house sunk, and there was a little crack going through the whole middle of the house, but you could tell it was off level. So I had to have them jack up part of the house with these joists, and then had to have the floor leveled, and then had to disclose all this to the buyers and everything. So you know, these are things with the pre-existing homes, and it happens with new construction as well, guys. Complex financing, so construction loans. So let's see here, we got is how does financing for new construction homes in Parrish differ from financing of an existing home? So complex financing, construction loans can be more complicated and may require a higher level of financing scrutiny, additional documentation, and sometimes higher interest rates. You know, this is something that, you know, this is can be true and cannot be true, guys. So it could be, you know, in my experience right now in this market, you know, I would say if they're paying your closing costs and they're buying down the interest rate, and they're typically, I mean, yeah, when I buy new construction homes, there is usually a lot of underwriting, and you usually have a lot of people involved in that process because you're dealing with some corporation. So you have like one person doing this, and then you have your underwriter, you have your file manager, you have your, you know, your loan officer, and then you have all these 4 different people like disconnected a little bit. And I've seen things where they've miscalculated income, and then the person goes to close, and this happened to me before. They've miscalculated my income. I went and got a tenant to sign a lease for my house and cancel their lease and give me a deposit, and then 3 days before closing, the loan officer is like, Robert, oh, you're not gonna believe this, but I don't know how I overlooked this, but I didn't calculate your income properly. I don't know how I'm gonna make this loan work. It's happened to me. So there can be some disconnect with these big corporate companies because they're doing a lot of loans all the time, and you're just getting they may be getting you mixed up with somebody else, and like, oh yeah, you know, you never know what kind of day or what kind of physical condition or mental condition these loan officers are in when they're under a lot of stress and they're moving real fast, plus they got life going on and hitting them, right? These things happen, guys. So yeah, guys, hope you're enjoying this video, and I hope this is very helpful information to you guys. And stay tuned, because we're gonna get into alligators, we're gonna get into storms and insurance, and we're gonna get into HOAs and CDDs, some of the commonly asked questions I get. Get into storms and insurance, okay? We're gonna go over the misconceptions and the reality of all these things, okay? So, storms and insurance, guys. So as you know, we're in Florida, right? So this is Florida, the hurricane center of the world, right? Other than some of the islands, say like in the Caribbean, the Southern Atlantic. But hurricanes are constant. These are some of the misconceptions, guys. That hurricanes are constant and insurance is unaffordable. So as you know, guys, you know, we get these storms and you know, they come through probably every year. I mean, we're gonna get like 1 or 2, but some years like you're barely getting anything. You're getting like maybe a little tropical storm. And one of the main things that happens with storms is you get those swells. So you get like the storm water, it comes through and it kind of swells through the area. It pushes up through the bay, pushes up through the river, through all the streams, and the creeks and stuff, and that kind of overflows and causes flooding, along with all of the rain that you get from these storms. And then you get a lot of wind damage. You get, in older communities, you'll get where, especially mobile homes or on the islands or on the keys and stuff like that, guys, that's where you'll get a lot of damage, a lot of things going on with storms, as you've seen on the news. I'm sure everybody knows, like what happened in Fort Myers last year, and they say that the Tampa Bay area is protected by spiritual forces, Indian burial grounds, stuff like that we are blessed. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's just because of the bay and the warm water there, the more shallow water. It kind of, helps with the storm systems and the way the air gets pushed around. That's kind of my theory on it, or the placement that we are in the Gulf. Because by the time the storms they hit, kind of like that tip of Florida area, they kind of weaken as they get up through here. They've hit a little bit more land. Sometimes they curve around and we get a direct hit, but like I said, guys, in my experience, I've barely even lost power. I think maybe for like an hour, I think is the most we've lost power for in these storms, and we don't really ever see any flooding or nothing like that. You'll see a little swell of water, like a big puddle outside in the yard, in the back of the yard, for like a day or something like that, and then it kind of goes away. But in some of the areas that have gone hit hard and they lose power for like a week, they lose power for 2 weeks. Sometimes it can be very catastrophic, guys, and people lose their lives, guys, and it's a tough thing to watch, and all the damage and kind of having to start from scratch. Back in Hurricane Katrina, you saw what happened with New Orleans and stuff like that, guys. It can get ugly, right? But these don't happen all the time. And like I said, when you're in a new construction community, you have very immature trees. So you don't have like a bunch of wooden fence pickets around, because they don't even allow wooden fences. So that minimizes debris. You not having the old, half dead trees, that minimizes debris. And having these new storm codes with the flood zones, with everything brought up high with the new storm drainages, minimizes flooding, and then having the power lines underground. So we're prepared, guys. Plus you have your hurricane windows, you have hurricane shutters, which come with every new construction home. These are those metal accordion things. They're very easy to put on, just a screw gun. You screw them out, latch right on like that, ching, ching. And usually what happens is we get 2 or 3 days notice before a storm, and all the neighbors band together and help each other put their shutters on. And most people just get worried, they get over worried, thinking they're gonna need these shutters on. They board up the whole house, right? Because it's their number one investment. It's their whole life savings, right, in that home. So they get very worried and they get a lot of anxiety. It can cause a lot of anxiety, guys. These storms can be very scary, especially if you got the shutters on and you're in the house, the storm's coming through, you don't know what's going on outside, right? And like the cable's going in and out, and you can't even get news coverage and stuff like that, guys. It can be a lot of anxiety. But some of the misconceptions is that buyers may think hurricanes are a constant threat, causing frequent and severe damage. And that insurance is unaffordable. Like I said, guys, in some of those areas like Port Charlotte, Fort Myers right now, for pre-existing homes, that's why you'll see that the homes are so cheap in those areas, because people don't want to go through that again, number one. So a lot of people are selling, and they're selling for less than they typically would have, or there's a lot of unresolved still insurance claims, and things like that. Or they might be in a flood zone where the insurance is very high. So, and like after some of the times after these storms come through, guys, FEMA redesignates the maps, and they'll say this used to not be a flood zone, but we realized how bad this area just flooded, so now it is a flood zone. So now, it might cost you $4,000 a year for insurance, which can equate to around, you know, $350, $400 extra a month on your payment, guys. Or if you're paying cash, I mean, who wants to pay that, right? So, by the way, you can get these homes, you can get nice homes down in Port Charlotte right now with pools near the water for $250,000, $300,000 like you cannot get in the Parrish area, right? So in the Parrish area, you're paying for a 3.2 minimum, you're paying $350,000, right? Minimum. And even now, it's becoming a villa costs that much, and a townhouse costs that much in this area. And it's just going to keep going up because, like I said, we're appreciating in Parrish to where we're going to be like Lakewood Ranch, where it's $450,000 for a townhouse, right? It depends on what part of Lakewood Ranch too. It depends on if you're in the southern part, closer to Sarasota. For some reason that area is more expensive than the northern part of Lakewood Ranch, or the eastern part. Or if you're closer to the highway, it might be more money out there versus if you're more towards the Mayaca side. And then the reality, guys, is storm preparedness. Florida homes are built to strict building codes to withstand hurricanes. New construction homes often have impact-resistant windows and other storm-proofing features like I just went through. And insurance costs, while insurance can be higher than in non-coastal areas, new construction homes with modern safety features may qualify for discounts, making insurance more affordable. So if you have like these brand new roofs with hurricane straps and these upgraded windows and these upgraded flood zones that, you know, have all this irrigation and drainage in their block homes, guys, and they don't have this like heavy landscaping that can come through and debris everywhere. Insurance companies know this. They're not silly and they're not dumb, and they give discounts on this. That's why insurance is more affordable in new construction communities. So hope that answers your questions, guys. If you have any more questions, guys, any more frequently asked questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd like to address and answer any questions that you may have. Put it down in the comments or reach out to me directly, 941-879-4730. And now we're going to get into homeowners associations, HOAs, and community development districts, CDDs. That's what that stands for. That's what CDD stands for. A lot of people do not know community development districts. The misconceptions of those are overbearing HOAs. Some buyers fear HOAs will be overly restrictive and limit personal freedoms excessively, okay? And hidden CDD costs. CDD fees are often misunderstood, with buyers thinking they are hidden or unexpected costs. Now, I want you to refer to my HOA and CDD video, guys, and I want you to check that out. I go through HOAs and CDDs in depth in that video. Right now, I'll cover a little bit of that. You know, basically, because CDDs can be like the new HOA. And usually in CDDs, you have two portions. You have your infrastructure and then your operations and maintenance. So now, typically, instead of having a higher HOA in a community, your HOA will be like $8 to $20 a month, and your CDD will be, say, like $2,000 a year. And this is something you may or may not know, guys, is that you can go to the county and you can negotiate a payoff and get a discount on your infrastructure portion of the CDD. They'll give you a discount if you pay it off early, and you can pay off a lump sum of it and get that off of your tax bill. So that is something that you can do, and I can show you how to do that, guys, if you would like to know. And HOAs are over-restricted, right? So HOAs might act like the big bad HOA, and they're gonna do this and do that and do this. And typically, guys, I'll be honest with you, we get a lot of notices for different things, like having a rock in our mulch beds, something stupid like that, or parking a car in the street, or having a basketball hoop, a portable one in the driveway. They'll give you like a 30-day warning, and then you take it down on day 29, right, or something like that. Or if, you know, you'll get like a car in the street, like a car that's like was in the street like one day, and they think it's there every day. Or I have a car that's been in the street for 2 years, and they try to get me on my truck, but you know, everybody does it. So like if everyone's like, screw that, and like most people aren't gonna abide by that stuff, but protocol, via protocol, they have to send out those notices, guys. They have to say that they warn you if there ever is like some kind of governing change or restraint, they have to kind of act like they've been enforcing it, even though they might not actually do anything about it. So just keep that in mind. You know, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission in some situations. But the reality, guys, HOA benefits. HOAs help maintain your property values by enforcing community standards and providing amenities like pools, clubhouses, and landscaping services. And now CDDs do that as well. And the purpose of a CDD fees fund the development and maintenance of the community infrastructure, such as the roads, recreational facilities. These fees are typically transparent and are included in the property tax assessments. So you don't even really notice it, it's already fixed into your payment. But they can go up. They'll go up with inflation, guys, because especially the operations and maintenance, and especially with the CDD or the HOA, they can go up over time, just like everything else. So there's people's wages and the cost of materials and the cost of new things get implicated, and it depends on who's managing the HOA, right? So like some HOAs you notice in the past have been undermanaged and they were underfunded, and the amenities kind of went underway or just got wiped out and turned into a flat field or something like that, where there was some nice playground, because they didn't have the money and they weren't enforcing these fees and putting the liens on people's properties like they can do. But like I said, guys, refer to my HOA and CDD video if you want to know more about that, or contact me directly. Now for the big one, guys, we're going to get into is alligators. I know everybody asks me, I don't want to live near a pond, I don't want to get eaten by an alligator, or eat my dog, or eat my kid, or something like that. You know, I get that a lot, guys. They don't want to be on a pond, they don't want to be on a lake, they're scared of alligators. Everyone who comes from out of state is scared of the alligators. Big bad alligators. Really, this is their natural habitat, guys. And the thing is like, but the crazy thing is, it's like, they're like, how does an alligator get into every single pond? You know, because a community will put 10 new ponds in, and all of a sudden, like over the course of a few months, you'll have an alligator in every single pond. I don't know how they, really honestly, guys, I don't know how they smell this out. I don't know if the birds tell them, like, hey, there's a new pond over there, go live over there, right? I have no idea, but like I said, a lot of these ponds are connected with tunnels, guys. They have tunnels, and that for overflow purposes. Sometimes it's storm grates, so I don't think the alligators can get through the storm grates, but if there's an interconnecting tunnel that just keeps them all level, keeps them all with the right levels of water in them, like leveling tunnels, the alligators will get through there. I don't know, I guess it's already built into their genetics and their instincts that they know, oh, there's a tunnel, let's go through there, this is gonna be my pond now. So, so the misconception, guys, is that alligators are everywhere. Some buyers believe that alligators are a constant, unavoidable presence in residential areas, and we see things on the news where, like, you know, they were at somebody's front door, they ended up in somebody's kitchen, somebody got attacked by one on a preserve during mating season, or you see them on the golf course all the time, guys, these colossal alligators that you see on the news, or they end up in someone's swimming pool, they climb fences, right? They do all of these things, guys, but it's not as common as you think. Like, I see them a lot. They don't really bother me. Usually when they see me and they're looking at me, if I get too close to the water, they turn around and swim away. They're more scared of men than, more scared of man than you would think, right? And the thing is, do not feed them, guys. Do not try to feed them and make them your pets, because they will become your pets that you do not want around. They can be a nuisance, right? So, high risk. There is a perception that alligators pose a high risk to personal safety and pets. The reality, guys, is the rare encounters. While alligators do live in Florida, they are rarely seen in residential areas. They are typically found in natural water bodies and tend to avoid human contact. They do grow in population just like everybody else, guys. They are growing. We are putting in more ponds, and they are finding more places to be a part of. Like I said, like usually this time of the year, which is May, when it warms up, you'll see a lot more of them surfacing, because in the cold months they kind of get down and they stay down low in the water bodies, and they don't care for warmth because they're cold-blooded. And they don't like to come out on the surface because the surface is usually colder than the water is, so they stay in the water where it's warmer. And they can't move as fast, so they go into like a hibernation period, guys. Safety measures. Communities provide guidelines for living near wildlife, such as not feeding alligators and keeping a safe distance. So you always see the signs where there may be alligators. You know, I love alligators. I think they're cool. Yeah, I don't want my dog jumping in ponds. It does worry me a little bit, especially in mating season. They have been known to attack and kill small dogs sometimes, guys. Sometimes they'll be hunting your dog. You never know. If you live on a pond, there's an alligator there and you have a fence, and that dog's always out in the yard, it could be a thing. It's a thing, guys. It is a thing. So, but very rarely do I ever hear anyone getting attacked by an alligator, you know, unless they attack the alligator first. They try to like do some drunk feat where they try to wrestle the alligator or something like that, something stupid, and then they get chomped, right? So there's your alligators, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I can be of great service to you guys. And, you know, look at my other educational videos on my channel, like HOAs and CDDs, the Parrish school system, the roads that are coming in, rate buy downs, the 12 steps to buying new construction, guys. And look at all my community tours if you're thinking about the Parrish, Lakewood Ranch, Tampa Bay, Palmetto, Riverview, any area like that. Anywhere within like an hour's driving distance from me, I'm perfectly comfortable with, all the way from like Spring Hill to Clearwater. I've done stuff, like I said, down to Port Charlotte. It's got stuff pending in Punta Gorda right now. I've done listings in Kissimmee, sold them in 3 days, 9 days in Wesley Chapel. Sold 25 acres in Plant City. I've done listings in Gainesville, guys. 941-879-4730, and you can use my incentives anywhere in the state of Florida. So I don't care if you're buying in Panhandle, Jacksonville, Miami, a new construction community, you put me on as your realtor, and I will come down there and check out the house and do the walkthrough with you guys, or come up there. I have no problem with that. You know, I do what I have to do, guys, to serve the people who need me, guys, and I'll still give you the incentives, guys. So appreciate you tuning in, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need it. 941-879-4730, and check out robertlunt.com for all my resources on my website, new construction searches, mortgage calculators. Check out my reviews online, guys, and I hope you